Good afternoon, members. It's the appointed time. We have a quorum. I call the meeting to order. Item number 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. The Secretariat has not issued any information paper. Item 2, schedule of meetings for the remainder of the 2025 session. In relation to the date of scheduled meetings for the remainder of the session, members, please refer to the timetable in front of you. If there are no questions, we will have a meeting on the 14th of July, and then the 8th of September, and then the 13th of October. 3 Mondays at 2:30 in the afternoon. These will be our regular meetings. Mr. Ronick Chan has something to say. Well, the last meeting schedule is the 13th of October, but there is no set date for the general election yet. We will see if we need to make adjustments or cancel this date. Thank you, Mr. Chen. Anyone else? Mr. Ma Fong Kwok? There will be the general election this year. There won't be any meetings in November, December. There is the summer recess in August. We will have at least one less meeting than a normal session. If necessary, perhaps we can extend the scheduled time for one of the meetings, if not all, so that we have more time to discuss an additional item. I will talk to the chairman of the panel, Ms. Elizabeth Kwok, and the administration to see if we can extend the meeting for an additional item. Mr. Loy Kwok. The last council meeting will be on the 22nd of October. We'll have the general election on the 7th of December. If we can have the council meeting on the 22nd of October, it will be all right if we have our meeting on the 13th of October. We'll talk to the Secretariat. I think this is an issue encountered by other panels as well. We'll try to keep the 13th of October. If there is any change, you'll be notified. Any other questions? If not, these will be the 3 meetings in the second half of the year. Items for discussion at the next meeting. The next meeting will take place on the 12th of May, a Monday, at 2:30. The ITIB suggested this item, that is the update on digital government and smart city development. A member just made a suggestion to add another item. We'll talk to the administration. I think that for this meeting there will only be one item. We'll talk to the administration to see if we will add an additional item. Members, do you agree with the discussion of the digital government and smart city development update? Thank you. Now we move on to the discussion item, promoting digital inclusion. Let's invite the administration to come in to join us. We have Mr. Tony Wong, Commissioner for Digital Policy, Ms. Karen Shing, Assistant Commissioner, and Mr. Wilson Chen, Chief Management Services Officer. I think we will first hear from the Digital Policy Office before the floor is open for members to ask questions. Members, please press the request to speak button. Each member will have 4 minutes, question and answers included. We'll first hear from Mr. Wong. Thank you. We're here to brief members on our work in promoting digital inclusion as well as our future plans. The government has been committed to promoting digital inclusion as well as digital transformation of government services. We would like to make use of digital inclusion to encourage elderly people to use technology and integrate into the digital society. Starting from 2014, we have launched the ICT outreach program for the elderly. We work with NGOs to visit elderly people to give them an experience of digital life. We have so far about 145,000 participants. At the same time, we have organized roving events. We have organized over 300 activities attracting 25,000 elderly people. Between 2023 to 2025, the outreach program will end at the end of this year. We are making preparation for the next round. We think next month we will launch the new round. There will be about 300 outreach activities attracting no less than 18,000 people. In 2019, we have added an enriched ICT training program for the elderly. We work with district organizations and the elder academies to provide regular advanced training courses for elderly people who are interested. We have offered over 330 advanced courses. At the same time, we have launched the Elderly IT Learning Portal. Teaching materials are designed so that elderly people can conduct online learning according to their needs and time. We encourage digital inclusion. In December 2024, our office launched a Smart Silver Digital Inclusion Program for the elders. We have amalgamated regular programs and work with 12 district organizations by setting up 40 help desks to provide regular and fixed point training. We will make use of a progressive approach to encourage elderly people to learn to use apps as well as software. Say, for example, registration in the I Am Smart program, booking venues of the LCSD, as well as making inquiries of follow-up medical sessions, as well as operation of popular apps. We will also teach them about digital security. We think about 100,000 elderly people will benefit from our initiatives. Digital accessibility is an important part. We have about 700 government websites as well as 80 apps. They are all digitally accessible. We conduct regular audit to ensure that these websites and applications comply with the standards. We've also asked the Hong Kong Internet Registration Corporation Limited to host the Digital Accessibility Recognition Scheme to promote accessible design as well as provide guidance and information. I'll be happy to take questions. Thank you, Commissioner. Now the floor is open for members to ask questions. We have so far 7 members waiting to speak. We'll start with we will have Mr. Chen Zhenying, Professor William Wong, Mr. Lim Chun Sing, Mr. Chen Xiu Hong, Mr. Tony Chen, Mr. Houghton Cha, and Mr. Tang Fei. Mr. Chen, please. Ronick Chen. Well, according to the information, we see that in relation to the mobile stations, there are about 60 to 70 elderly people participating each time. In relation to the outreach program, there are about 11,000 activities attracting about 40,000 elderly people. That means only 4 people attend each event. Is it the case that it's by design that it's a small group, or are there any particular reasons why there are only a few people attending each event? Smart Silver initiatives. I think the most important thing is actual operation. I don't think it should just sound brilliant on a drawing board. I don't know if elderly people have their own smartphone or tablets to bring to these activities. What about elderly people who don't have smartphones or tablets? Do you lend them these devices? Or are they required to go to a specific service location to get these devices? Just now, the Commissioner talked about 700 government websites as well as 80 mobile apps offering digital accessible content. I think the most important thing for elderly people is large fonts, more graphics, less words, and simple operation. Would there be, say for example, a dedicated version for elderly people to cater for their needs? Is this function available? I thank the member for his questions. First of all, in relation to our outreach program, Mr. Chen pointed out that there is a low turnout. Well, we subsidize social welfare organizations for the elderly to visit hidden elderly people, singleton elderly people, or just elderly couples to give them information about products or technical service. So each time, the target group is just one household. That is the reason why the number of participants is lower compared to classes at mobile stations or help desks. The current approach of Smart Silver is that we have 12 organizations running 40 mobile stations. Some service units provide smartphones for elderly people to use during these classes, but not all organizations do the same. What we'd like to do is that we ask elderly people to bring their own, and we help them make full use of the different functions of their mobile phones. We teach them practical information, say for example government apps and websites. We will continue to talk to service organizations as well as IT bodies in the sector to see if they can offer more tailor-made services for our training sessions. Regarding the design of digital accessibility, we follow an international standard. We have put in place government guidelines that government websites should meet these standards. We want to facilitate people with disabilities, say in hearing or sight, to access these sites. We have added designs for elderly use. Government websites or apps will add a setting for elderly people. It can be a simplified version with larger fonts and bigger buttons and more graphics. The information may be less, but it's easier for elderly people to use. That's something that we, at least our office, is doing. But for this elderly setting, does it apply to all websites? It depends on the target group. For some websites, there may not be this elderly setting, but we will continue to encourage websites to incorporate that. We want to add more elderly setting in mobile apps because, well, normally the fonts are small.
Thank you, Chair. My concern has to do with the Smart Silver enriched training program. Now, for digital inclusion, I think we have to pay attention to two things or two angles. Now, the government is trying to help those who are not very used to using digital technology. But then there are others who are pretty good because they've learned the skill while growing up. So are you targeting these groups as well? Now, we've discussed laborers, and if you teach them how to use AI, then they can help with labor industry. Now, while we take care of the elderlies, we have to find out whether they can actually use it after being trained. Now, if you pay attention or visit them to their homes, you can find out whether they actually can apply what they have learned. Thank you, Mr. Wong, for your suggestion. Now, for this Smart Silver program, we are looking at different needs of the elderlies. Now, we've introduced regular and fixed point training courses. Now, these are targeting people who want to learn digital technology. So this is something we want to do within the community. And then we have the enriched program. And we will include the latest technology, for example, the use of AI or website security or other higher-end technologies. So those who finish the basic training, and if they are interested, we welcome them to attend our enriched courses. And upon graduation, these people, after being trained in the enriched program, can in turn help the elderlies so they can learn the basic training afterwards. Now, as to assessing whether they've actually learned what they have been taught, we are asking elderlies to use technology, but we have no intention to set certain yardsticks for them to attain. We just want to reach out to as many elderlies as possible. And we do pay home visits, and these are part of our outreach programs. Some are singleton or doubleton elderlies or hidden elderlies. Now, we want to pay home visits to these people or to invite them to join our community programs in order to widen their exposure to society, as well as teaching them digital technology. Now, thirdly, through the website, there are self-learning courses. They are relatively simple, and elderlies, after attending the basic training, they can have revision on the website, or to learn the basic courses through the website, and then to improve from there. Thank you. Lam Chun Sing. Thank you, Chair. Now, this time we have a new scheme using $100 million, and that is to use the Smart Silver Digital Inclusion Program. Now, it's not only the work of the DPO or the SIE programs. Now, we have, of course, the Labor Department or other elderly academies. They have different kinds of training and courses for the elderly. Now you are launching this Smart Silver program. How do you locate the elderlies in need? Now, because there are more active elderly people, and they would go to attend all sorts of courses. So the net effect is that these smarter elderlies will be attending all sorts of courses and overlapping. The training is being overlapped. So how do you reach out to those who are less active? In other words, now you have people age 61 to 70, and only a limited number of people have joined the I Am Smart program. So from 71 years old onwards, about 140,000. Now, we are spending $100 million. Now, there are other education programs for the elderlies, and you can achieve savings there. Am I right? Now, another question. Now, some elderlies are really smart and they can communicate over the website, over the internet, but there are those who are hesitant using mobile or digital payments because of the fraud cases. So some elderly people do worry about this. Now, so for electronic payments, can you focus energy on this particular area to enhance security so that elderly feel safer using this technology? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lam, for your question. Now, we provide different services for the elderlies, and we have different target groups. Now, this time round, we want to work together with community sectors. Now, apart from the 12 parties that we work with, we also use the networks that they provide. Now, there are care teams, for example, or district councillors. They also provide help, and they do have networks that we can make use of. So we are working together with these groups. Now, we also work with the senior police corps. So targets are still elderly people, but there are different types of elderlies. So we want to achieve some sort of synergy here. Now, we want to be practical to help elderly people to use digital technology rather than providing them with theory or classroom lessons. We want to be practical and to enhance their interest in such technology. Now, of course, we want to encourage them to attend other subsidized courses or training courses so that they will learn more and more. So we do work with different groups to find out those who are in need. Now, you are very correct in saying those between 60 and 70, these so-called elderlies are in fact very active. And they do use a lot of government services. So we're also making use of this channel to promote and to encourage them to register the I Am Smart service or even other private services in order to help them integrate more into society. Your point about electronic payment, yes, this is something we have to handle with care. Now, we have heard from different community groups about people who are new to such technology. We are in fact telling them or encouraging them not to use such technology which are relatively risky, but rather to help them how to protect themselves, to protect their own information, personal ID, and so on. Now, we work with the police to produce teaching materials. And then when they get on to an enriched program or a higher level program, we can teach them how to make online purchases. But throughout such teaching, elderlies tend to believe such information more easily, and we have to help them to be really careful. Now, on digital inclusion, we can see that the government has done a lot of work and spent hundreds of millions on this area. Now, how do we get them to get used to this environment? Yes, we have to put in resources, but at the end of the day, we have to look at not only quantity but also quality of our work. Now, we've listened to figures and the results that we've achieved so far. Now, let's just look at what we've actually achieved or whether there's still room for improvement. Now, first of all, the second paragraph about the internet usage rate from 56% in 2018 to 84% in 2023. Now, is this figure really useful? Now, let's say an elderly uses a smartphone and is able to get onto the web, and just pressing the app once, then he's already using the web. So what does that mean? So he or she might just do that only every now and then. So what is the meaning of these figures? Now, in the paper, and also Mr. Wong very confidently said that a lot of work has been done, and you've quoted 40,000 people or more than 100,000 people joining these digital inclusion programs, and by 2026 you want to achieve such and such a figure. Now, again, you are using such figures. Now, I've raised a similar question in the past. Apart from providing number of people using it, can you provide the number of people actually benefiting from the program? Because there are active users who have joined time and again. It's the same person joining many times. But for more than 1 million elderly people, maybe we're only helping a small bunch of them. Now, maybe Mr. Wong, you can identify how many people who have actually benefited from such training. Now, thirdly, on the effectiveness, now on paragraph 27, you've produced a very good picture, hiring young volunteers to be teachers. This is a good thing because you achieve intergenerational inclusion. But at the same time, we want to be able for teachers and students to speak the same language, as it were. So it's actually good for elderlies to teach elderlies. Now, on the elderly programs, now for the accessibility program, can you not encourage more smartphone or tabloid users who are elderlies? In other words, you want to work towards or focus on the elderlies. Okay, well, a brief response, please. Now, allow me to respond one by one. Now, your first point about our targets. Now, first of all, you have to understand why we mention number of times being used. Because when you look at different groups organizing different activities, there will be the same elderlies attending these programs. So we want to be accurate. So we are using number of times people have used such training. But we also ask the groups and organizations to locate different people to join those programs. So we are doing such work.
係一致嘅，我哋希望
We share the same goal with the member. We would like to see as many elderly people joining as possible. Well, in relation to the survey, it's one done by the Census and Statistics Department. So it's not the case that the elderly person only touched the screen once and is counted at one time. The CNSD issued a questionnaire on the use of technology, so it's in detail. So the result is of a good reference value. We have launched a number of programs working on these for a number of years. Some of the target groups will grow, well, the target groups will grow old. Our first target was that by 2018, 70% of elderly people will be internet literate. It was about 40 to 50%. We have done really well. When it comes to the use of the rate of using internet is in 2010 is about 70%. That's why we have raised the target that by 2020 it will reach over 80%. We want to encourage elderly people to continue to use technology. We hope that by the end of this year, 2025, the usage rate will be over 87%. That's why we have a number of initiatives in place. Perhaps the question about the gerund technology, you will give us a written reply. I think the member is concerned about digital accessibility. This is something that we'll continue to do. We have engaged an organization to give feedback from different age groups on what web services they access. Not all government websites are visited by people who need accessibility. But for those who need the service, we want to make available accessible websites and apps for them. It will be targeted and will continue to do it. Mr. Tony Tse. I think when it comes to building a smart city, we have to involve everyone so that everyone will benefit. Naturally, by that, elderly people will be included as well. The government has done a lot of work. I see that those people who are above the age of 65 who use the internet in 2018, it was about 56% and now it's increased to 87%. I wonder if my observation is right. When elderly people use smartphones or tablets, they use these devices to watch TV, watch shows, news, or health products. When it comes to internet banking or procurement of service or products, I think they don't use it as much as young people. I wonder if my observation is correct. Well, there is a concern about phone scam or internet scam. Are there any ways for you to allay their concern so that they can make use of the internet without having to worry about being duped? Well, I understand that there is a working group to promote silver economy. There are a number of areas: quality assurance, finance, insurance, and releasing silver productivity. In the last area, productivity, I think it works hand in hand with digital inclusion. I wonder if the Digital Policy Office is involved in relation to this area of work. This will also support our development as a smart city. Use of mobile devices by elderly people. I think it's down to the elderly person's interest or habit. Our initiatives aim to encourage elderly people to learn and to use the technology if they so wish. We would also like to teach them how to access government information using smart technology. We would like them to use more government services. We will include in regular government survey how they use the internet. We will also add questions on the use of government online services or online banking services so that we get a better picture before we tweak our future programs. The silver economy. As I said, we have to make sure that we'll start with teaching elderly people who are not familiar or who don't know about internet service first. For those more advanced ones, we will teach them about online shopping or online banking services. What about online deception or phone deception cases? We will add an element on cybersecurity in our courses to teach elderly people about cybersecurity and ways to prevent online deception. Mr. Holden Chow, I see that the government has done a lot of work to promote digital inclusion. I would like to give you information about what's actually happening in the community. Some elderly people find it difficult to access government service on their mobile phone, say dental services. You know, there is a recent change to online appointment system instead of queuing up. What we learn is that elderly people may know how to use certain internet services, but they don't know how to generate SMSs, the short messages. Some elderly people may not have smartphones. Well, for argument's sake, let's say it's someone with a smart mobile phone, but they don't know how to use the systems. Some people did not turn up because they did not know how to open the short message. They could not read the short message. As a result, they failed to turn up. My suggestion to the government was that instead of sending them short messages, call them. We need to do it in a more balanced way. When it comes to use of e-service or e-banking, you're asked to receive a short message and then put in a code, something like that. But elderly people don't know how to do it. You will have to help them overcome these difficulties. If you just offer internet service or smart initiatives without helping them getting over the hurdles, then it's no use. Yes, it is necessary to encourage elderly people to learn how to use mobile devices. There is an actual need. But if they can't even receive a short message, how are they supposed to use internet banking service? I think you will have to do it step by step. You can't fully rely on e-service. You have to make sure that if need be, elderly people can access the service manually. We don't have fixed targets in relation to our initiatives that elderly people should learn this and that by this and that time. The first step is to get them to learn how to use it. We have to make sure that our teaching material covers from the beginning to the end, covering the entire workflow. Say, for example, how you start the service and what you need to do in the process in order to get it. Our design is elderly friendly. We make sure that everything is easy to understand and remember. Mr. Tang. Well, I would like to ask that in relation to people with disabilities as well as elderly people. Well, if they need to access certain service, what is the level of literacy required? It's just like a teaching curriculum. With these different levels of literacies, it will be easier for NGOs to design different programs and training courses. It's not just about using a mobile phone. You may use it just want to get some information, or you may want to use it to apply for services, government service or not. There are also people who use their mobile phones for more advanced service. You need to come up with a guideline to service organizations. It is even more the case for persons with disabilities. There are different kinds of impairments. Different groups have different needs. We've seen advancements in AI as well as Web3. So there may be a higher requirement for access to certain services. For these advanced services, it will be difficult for elderly people and PWDs to access it. So do you have any materials or information for the reference of service organizations? The topic here is inclusion. Other than elderly people and PWDs, what about the underprivileged? Well, do you have services provided to them? You can't assume that if you are a youngster, then you'll be quite tech savvy. But my experience is that family and the means they have makes a huge difference to the technology literacy of youngsters. Apart from schools can service organizations provide services to them. Because we're talking about inclusion here, don't leave out youngsters from underprivileged families. Can there be programs that dovetail with the Rise and Strive program?
Mr. Wong, so how do you respond? Thank you for your suggestions. Now, as to some sort of a handbook, now when we are doing digital inclusion or doing teaching materials, we aim to be practical and to be easy to understand, to let elderlies understand the basic needs of using government services, electronic media or social media platform, and internet security. Now, all these banded together would be what the member suggested, some sort of an easy-to-read booklet or pamphlet. So whoever has access to such materials will benefit. Now, preferably work with our organizations to attend trainings. And if there are volunteers, then they can help the elderly. And we certainly encourage district organizations to work in tandem. Now, for the younger population, now again, we have limited resources and we have to prioritize the groups that we want to help. So I think people would agree, members would agree that we should focus on the elderly first. There are different schemes run by the government, and also the Education Bureau also is looking at STEM courses, and these will help young people to improve their digital literacy. Now, of course, we've heard your views. And let's see how we can run some sort of crossover programs to help the younger population as well. So we're looking at possible cooperation here. Thank you, Chair. Now, digital inclusion is very much needed. Yes, I agree, because many government services are digital in nature, and many users are elderly. So I'm not going to repeat colleagues' questions. I only have one question. Now, there are now banks introducing different security measures. So just today, let's say you have $1 million in the bank, and you cannot transfer this out through mobile payments or internet payments. So if you lock your money here, then you cannot transfer out this $1 million through online means. Now, my question is, are you going to keep pushing out new programs through care teams and teach people the latest technology? Are you going to do that? So do you always update the things that you teach the elderlies? Yes, thank you for your suggestion. Very good indeed. Now, for our teaching materials, we do regularly revise and update them. Now, and as you just said, we're not teaching the elderly how to use such technology for financial purposes, but rather how to protect themselves from possible losses. Now, we're going to work with banks and other monetary institutes to look at the latest developments and see how we can modify and update our teaching materials at the same time. So the purpose, of course, is to let the elderly know about the latest development. Thank you. Now, paragraph 15 of the paper mentioned and enriched ICT training programs. including smart healthcare, as well as checking medical records. Now we have 4.0 in the Industrial Revolution and 3.0 in our internet range. Now I agree totally that we should have smart healthcare. Now you have 1.6 million elderly people, many of whom do not have HA Go as an app or related applications. And even if they have it, they may not know how to use it. My question is, do you have further plans to encourage elderly to download and to use such smart healthcare applications? Thank you for your suggestion. A very good suggestion indeed. Now, when we try to produce such training programs, we try to think what is the main need or one of the main needs of the elderly, and healthcare obviously tops the list. Now, so HA Go is one of our major target areas, and we're going to teach the elderly how to use it. This is going to be very useful for elderly. Now, they're going to download this and to use it. They look at medical appointments, personal health records, and so on. So this is going to be really useful for elderly. So we continue to work and to improve on such areas. Yes. We have 3 more members wanting to speak. So I'm suggesting that we extend the meeting by 15 minutes. Shuka Fai, please. Now, we have an outreach program starting from 2014, and then we have outreach from 2011, and then digital inclusion from 2024, enrich program from 2019. Now, these programs have benefited a lot of people who took part. Now, all these taken together, how much have we spent, and how much have we spent so far on such programs? Thank you for your question. Now, in the past, we continuously improve and to increase such programs, starting from outreach programs and then enrich programs, websites, and so on. Now, every time we ask for open tenders we invite such public submissions, and based on their suggestions and the budget that they're asking for, we will scrutinize such submissions. Now, generally speaking, every year, I think we're looking at 20 million, roughly, every year, 20 million. Now, but now we have the SIE fund with the $100 million for the SIE fund, and we also have some regularized programs, and we want such programs to achieve a synergy effect, and this will allow us to use our resources more effectively. Now, we have frontline IAM, I'm Smart programs, and they have regular and fixed point programs to allow the elderly to learn the basic technology, especially using government services. Now, the next stage would be enriched programs, allow those who are more able to receive more training. But of course, number of people will drop. And then we have websites, and after attending such training, they can learn even more through websites or further training or technical support. So we try to be systematic to use our resources. Yes. Now, from the background, your DPO has 56% increasing to 84% from 2018 to 2023. Now, this is very good, but please don't try to go up to 100%. I hope you are not trying to aim for that, because the 80+% is really very, very good already. Now, $20 million is an acceptable figure, as far as I'm concerned. Now, our elderly friends, if they are not good at digital technology, they will lose out on social interactions. Well, they will be using the telephone, obviously. Now, I think you are moving in the right direction. I'm just giving you suggestions. The programs that they like to watch, and then you can do some sort of a token as a reward, a $10 free coupon, for example, to encourage them to use such technology, but only allow those who are over 65 to use it. Thank you. Now I'm going to draw the line here. We have 2 more, and then somebody, another member wanting to speak for a second time. Now, I've been paying attention to this topic for more than 20 years, and we now are beginning to see some results. Now, the accessibility program, we've now reached 650 applications so far. So this is an improvement. Now, but while talking to the disabled friends, they want very much to order food or do shopping online. But the platforms are not quite accessible yet. Now, I hope the government will encourage such platforms to help those friends, numbering more than 200,000. Now, the government is focusing your work on the elderlies. So much I notice. Now, for the elderly IT learning portal, I think that is very good. Now, you have 1.5 million people browsing. And how many people actually use it on a regular basis? Do you know the number of people rather than the number of times? So can I have such figures, please? Now, coming back to the elderlies, now I think Dr. Lam pointed this out about smart healthcare, how to use HA Go. I believe this is really important for elderlies. And as people getting older and older, they may need other services such as delivery of medicine or telehealth counseling. Maybe you can work harder on this area. Now, for this telehealth consultation, do they have the hardware and do they know how to use it? And then they have to make payment online. So this might be a hurdle for some elderlies. Now, those who are living in remote areas, they have difficulty commuting to the city center for consultation or getting medicine. Now, can we not have some sort of a comprehensive scheme? Now, of course, we have care teams and other rural services. But can we get some sort of help to transfer or transmit a medicine through different channels, including using drones? Now, anti-fraud is really important. We don't want them to use it and then to be cheated by bad elements. Now, apart from elderlies, we should be looking at ethnic minorities as well as the disabled. these two groups also need to be able to use such technology without accessibility problems. Now, those who are disabled or who are weak of hearing, they need to be able to use such technology to help them have a convenient life. So, not just for the elderly. Now, for the ethnic minorities, the younger ones don't really have problems, but there are elderly people who are ethnic minorities and they also need help. So those who are serving them, the NGOs and so on, can maybe work more in this area.
第二條就
So how can we ensure that private platforms are elderly friendly, and then there is telehealth as well as anti-deception as well as the ethnic minorities? I thank the member for her questions. I'd also like to thank the member for her efforts in promotion of digital accessibility as well as inclusion. Ms. Scott asked about the promotion of accessible websites. Every year we identified websites that are of interest to certain groups, say for example PWDs, and then we encourage these websites to go digital accessible. Say for example platforms that offer food delivery, we would like to get them to change their website so that it will be digitally accessible. We want to get as many elderly people to use our courses and our services as much as possible. We have a hit rate, but we have not recorded their personal information. We don't want to collect too much information by asking them to make too many entries when they use our services. So we don't know how many people there are actually. We would like to first get elderly people to familiarize with the use of HAGO. If there are additional services by, say, the hospital authority or the Department of Health, we will design a training program to cover the additional services. And we will keep in view as to what we need to do in relation to e-health services. Ms. Eunice Young. Electrical has discussed about this topic. I think the focus this time is are those that are above the age of 65. Well, technology advances rapidly. A lot of people use AI. I think it's rather difficult to try to get those above the age of 65 to use AI. Perhaps we need to first enhance the understanding of AI by those who are in their 50s first. The government launches I Am Smart, and there are different services available through smartphones. I think it's very important to promote the use of online services by the middle-aged. The government has organized summits, exhibitions, and fairs relating to technology and the internet. These are very successful. I've attended some as well. Some products may not reach a critical mass for production. They may not get support from the government. I think it is very important to make available products and services for use in the welfare sector and elderly people. Well, you need to do something about helping these products commercialized. Well, there is this product that is a headband or a waistband that helps people who are visually impaired to feel. But the products themselves are very expensive. If there is support, the price may come down. I would like the government to give us some comments. We'll first hear from the government first. In relation to whether there is room to lower the age group under digital inclusion for elderly people, or whether there will be different contents. We want to focus the limited resources on those with the most need. Among the elderly people, there is a large number of people who are in need of basic knowledge. We'll focus on this group first. We will make use of limited government resources in a targeted way. The goal of promoting digital inclusion for elderly people is to encourage them to use smart technology to access government services. We have not added recommendations of different technology or products. However, we've heard the members' view. We will forward the views to government departments on how to promote the use of different technology and products. Speaking for the second time, Professor Wong. I have taken part in a lot of these programs. Currently, there is the ICT outreach program. There was a program before 2018. I have attended one. At that time, we required the operator to be self-financed, but it didn't work. If there is a successful program, will you consider regularizing it or getting the government involved in running the program jointly? I see a lot of cases when the program itself is good, but if they want to join government programs, they have to make an application once every 2 years. If there are good programs, perhaps you need to consider regularizing these programs or running these programs with the operators jointly. Well, this is in relation to whether there will be private-public partnership. We will make good use of the $100 million under the SIE fund. It will last for 3 years. We want to first run these programs for 2 years to gauge the effectiveness and collect feedback. We've heard what the member said. We will consider possibilities of working with private organizations or expanding the scope. The goal is to enable elderly people to know about technology, but we have to guard against operators using the program to promote their products commercially. It's my turn. Members have asked questions about different ways to teach elderly people or different groups. The focused areas are healthcare, finance, and deception prevention. They fall under different portfolio. For healthcare is the Health Bureau, the Department of Health, the different clusters and different hospitals of the hospital authority. They have their individual programs to teach elderly people to use different services, say HA Go. Sometimes other groups say the district care teams are engaged to promote or teach elderly people to use these services. So the figures and the data you have quoted might not have included the programs run by other departments or organizations. If you have the whole picture, then you don't have to do something that is already done by some other organizations. Some of these services may be provided by the private sector, say for example banks. Are there any ways to collect comprehensive data to plan your programs in a more coordinated way? We want to cover different areas. Say for the three that you've mentioned. In relation to finance, we want to teach elderly people to guard against financial risks. Healthcare, we promote the use of HA Go and other health services. We work with policy bureaus and departments. If there are new initiatives and services, we'll include them in our new training. Departments and bureaus, when they launch new initiatives, that they will have their own support programs. Say, for example, under our office, when we have specific initiatives, we will target certain groups. Our work is complementary. The most important thing is to reach out to as many people as possible to help elderly people access our services. We hear what the member said. We may get involved in that work, the work of the individual departments or bureaus. Say, for example, when there is an addition of a new service, we will enrich the content of our training program. The member also talked about figures. We've only quoted figures related to the programs under our portfolio. If you would like to get more information, we will collect information and data from other departments to give members a more comprehensive picture. Thank you. Thank you. That's the end of the discussion session. Any other business? If not, then meeting adjourned. Thank you.